Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com, setting the record straight about science. A few months ago, the press started touting a new coronavirus. They said that since this was a new disease and very few people had immunity to it, millions and millions of people were going to die. And not only that, they were going to die long, protracted, horrible deaths alone in the hospital. Award-winning journalist David Levitt said that more than 13 million Americans were going to die from this novel coronavirus. Joe Biden's top medical expert predicted 100 million cases in the United States by early May. Joe Biden, who wants to be president of the United States, went into hiding for 2 months and just came out a couple hours ago. What a brave guy Joe Biden is, a true leader of the free world. Dr. Fauci appeared on CNN and lamented the fact that not every single state had stay-at-home orders. All of these forecasts were absurd. We didn't get millions of deaths, and life in many Republican states is returning to normal. Researchers are finding out now that most people have a natural immunity to the virus. A new study from scientists in the United States suggests that a significant majority of the population may already have some level of immunity to the coronavirus. A possible explanation for why so many individuals seem to experience few to no symptoms from the disease. Even Dr. Fauci says that most people can fight off the virus themselves. If most people's bodies already know how to fight off the virus, then apparently the virus wasn't so novel after all. The Center for Disease Control has just released some new mortality estimates, which are much lower than were originally predicted and are not terribly different than those from the flu. Their current best estimate is that 0.4% of people who get symptoms will die from COVID-19, and the vast majority of those are over 65 years old. For people under age 50, only 1 person out of 2,000 who get symptoms will die from the disease. And the vast majority of people who have died have had other serious underlying conditions. The head of forensic medicine at Hamburg says that nobody in Hamburg has died without a previous illness. Pierre Gosselin just reported some very interesting data from Germany. The Robert Koch Institute in Germany created a huge scare there a couple months ago by predicting huge numbers of deaths, which didn't occur. And now data from the Robert Koch Institute shows that the lockdowns did absolutely nothing. The infection transmission rate in Germany had already dropped off to below 1.0 before the lockdowns were implemented. Professor Homburg of Leibniz University says the lockdown was completely unnecessary and was unbelievably damaging to the economy. Here in the United States, J.P. Morgan just issued a study showing how incredibly destructive and useless lockdowns have been in the United States. A J.P. Morgan study suggests lockdown measures have not only resulted in economic devastation, but could have also resulted in more COVID-19 deaths. Strict stay-at-home orders put in place in most states to stop the spread 2 months ago has so far seen nearly 39 million Americans lose their jobs. I've used this chart from Intermountain Healthcare a lot, showing how coronaviruses drop off every year in April and May. Politicians all over the Northern Hemisphere are trying to take credit for the drop-off in cases, but the reality is that the drop-off would have occurred even if the politicians did nothing. The drop-off in coronaviruses happens every year. Once the sun gets high in the sky in the spring and there's lots more ultraviolet light, the coronaviruses start dying. Coronavirus cases in the Northern Hemisphere drop off every year very quickly during April and May. Let's look again now at how the mass panic started. For many weeks, cable news kept showing images of dying people in hospitals in places like Italy and New York City. But as more information has come out, it turned out that places like Italy, New York, and Michigan were forcing nursing homes to take in sick COVID-19 patients. If you want to create a high death count from any virus, there's no faster way to do it than to send sick people into nursing homes. The behavior of the Italian government, Governor Cuomo, and Governor Whitmer should be the big story about coronavirus. But much of the press is corrupt, and in the case of Governor Cuomo, there's also nepotism involved. As a result of the barrage of propaganda from the press, we've done all sorts of horrible things to our civilization. We have no school, no concerts, no religious gatherings, no theater, no Olympics, no scientific conferences, no climate conferences, no skiing, no public gatherings, no amateur sports, no professional sports, no international travel, We have little domestic travel. Most national parks are closed on Memorial Day weekend. Blue states like California are locked down indefinitely. 40 million unemployed with lots more on the horizon. Our travel industry is decimated. Hertz has gone bankrupt. How are you going to travel without being able to rent a car at your destination? Hotels and airlines to follow soon. Neighbors are spying on neighbors. People are being arrested for trying to work. Only large businesses like Walmart are allowed to operate. People are afraid of friends, family, and strangers who exhale. Opinions contrary to the official government line are banned from Facebook and YouTube. Government is banning religious gatherings and demonstrations, which is a gross violation of the First Amendment. And worst of all, people aren't even allowed to dance. I'm just scratching the surface with this list. I could go on like this all day. In Dallas, a judge sent a salon owner to jail for trying to work and feed her children. The Texas Supreme Court overturned this, but just this afternoon, Twitter is back trying to scare people away from salons. People have completely lost their minds over a virus which the CDC shows has similar death rates to the flu. And almost all of those who die have other serious underlying conditions. In 1842, Charles Mackay wrote this great book, Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. We are seeing the madness of crowds all around us right now. Mackay said, "Men, it has been well said, think in herds. It will be seen that they go mad in herds, while they only recover their senses slowly and one by one." Toto's goal is always to help end the madness and help people recover their senses, one by one, or in much larger numbers if possible. Visit Toto on the web at realclimatescience.com. He's been pulling back the curtain on junk science and propaganda for a long time.